Hello, I am back now with the month of Halloween upon us. I thought I would do another one of my favorite childhood movies and rewatch and see what it is like as a fully grown adult woman. And I decided on Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. So Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase is a 2001 animated film and it goes for an hour and 15 minutes. So it's nice and short. All right, with that out of the way, I will go on to my notes. Okay, so we just jump straight into the movie. It is not a movie that has like a long intro. This is straight in. It's a quick opening credit section and where it's a lab with some creepy music. And we see a scientist who has some voluptuous hair. And I wrote, quote, like, wow. Like, he has some crazy hair, but not in a necessarily bad way. It's just, like, very voluptuous. I need his skincare routine. Maybe skincare routine. But his hair care routine, it is some voluptuous hair. Then we see some younger scientists in some science labs on computers, and this old scientist seems really sus. He is very suspicious.
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
And then there's this robot sort of thing in the background that looks like it is from Star Wars. Now, I don't remember the name of this robot. I've seen Star Wars once. And I don't remember the name of this robot. Is it Obi-Wan Kenobi? No, wait. Is that a robot? I think that might be a person.
I'm a human. I'm not a
robot.
My bad. Let's look at the Star Wars robots. This one. What's this one? R2-D2? Is that the one? Little, like... Yes, R2-D2. Alright, don't come at me, anyone that is a Star Wars fan, because I got them mucked up, okay? It wasn't my thing. It really wasn't. Maybe I'll try again one day, but for now, we're talking about Scooby Doo. We're not talking about Star Wars. Anyway, this R2-D2 robot, it turns on. Unsure how. We don't know how at this point. It like shoots this electric monster looking thing out of it into the real world. And this monster thing steals the computer data that's on the computer in that room because it's a lab. And this old scientist guy, that's what I'm calling him because I don't remember his name. So if you want good reviews, as I've said before, go elsewhere. It says, call the security. Sorry, there's a lot of hand movements. But what is security going to do? Shoot it? It is America. They might have a gun in the security. So, he says, call the security. And then this robot attacks Eric, who is one of the students. I will attach pictures of who these people are. So, next thing we know, we are with the Scooby Gang. And they seem to know Eric, who seems to be their friend. And they're going to see him because he created a computer game for them or about them. That's all we know so far. At this point, we find out that this was set at a university. That's where this cyber creature has escaped. And that is somewhat relevant, but not fully. It's relevant for the character. So the Scooby Gang arrive at the university, and there is this security guard, apparently, who kind of looks like a policeman. His just outfit screams policeman to me, but okay. And I am curious because, yet again, I have never in my life been to a university. Now, I'm not going to say I've been to many. I've probably been to 3-ish. Not, I haven't like studied at 3, but I've been to 3 that I can think of. 4, maybe 4. And never has there been security. You can just walk through those places and they're not looking for you. They don't care. They don't know who goes there. Unless you're showing up to an actual class where they're like doing a role attendance, they honestly don't know. You could honestly just show up. You probably can even go to a lecture if you know where it is and it's a big enough lecture. Don't go to a little class lecture.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
You could definitely just show up. So the fact that this has a security guard is crazy to me. I don't know if in America they do often have security guards. I'm sure there are somewhere, but they're not looking for attendance or who's at the place. Like maybe for people running around with knives or something, but I don't know. My next note is literally just Bill McLemore lab partner because I wanted to remember who he was. There is 3 people that we first see in that opening scene. So there's Eric, old scientist guy, who I'm sure has a name, but I don't know it, and Bill McLemore. All right. So with this being said, the movie's moving fairly, I don't want to say fast. It's not moving fast. Like there's not a lot happening in this time period, but it is progressing. And we are finding out, like, Scooby and the gang are obviously at the lab and they are meeting their friend. And there's a few questions in this movie. And I'm not saying this movie is bad. I will get into it. But I am wondering what exactly Eric and maybe this Bill guy are studying. Because maybe I just don't understand this field. But we are in this lab, okay? There's a scientist guy who's wearing a lab coat and everything. I don't think the others wearing lab coats. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't remember if the others were wearing lab coats. Doesn't matter. We're in like this science room, this laboratory area. And there's like 2 computers and there's Bill and Eric on each of them. Now they are creating games. Which brings the question on what are they studying? I don't understand if there's science, like they're creating video games. So what are we working with here? Are we scientists or game developers? I'm not sure because Bill seems strictly working on this baseball game. Okay, there doesn't seem anything sciencey about it. It's baseball. It's just a game. It's a developer, a game developer. That's what he's doing. And Eric, now he says a little bit more. So maybe we can talk about the realms of science in this because he is creating a game that seemed to use this machine that we talked about earlier where it lasers in. You can like, I don't know how to explain it. It shoots like this laser thing and it will, whatever that laser is pointed at, will beam it into the game. Like it will go into the game. And that thing is no longer in the physical realm. I don't know how it works. That's how it is. It is no longer in physical reality. It is purely in the game. And then whatever's in the game, you can beam out of the game into the physical realm. So I kind of get the science there. Okay, I get that. The game, I mean, that's just game development. I'm sorry. I think that's what it is. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If there is a science sort of film field that requires you to be in a lab with developing games. But that beam thing is the only thing I can think of that would like warrant this being in a lab. The other guy, I'm not sure why he's in a lab. He's just there. I don't know what is happening, but that's just what it is. We find out that this game that Eric is creating is called Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. Hence the movie title. So Scooby Doo and the gang are at this place. Now they have gone to see this game. Now obviously they wanted to play the game and they cannot. So what do? They hunt monsters. So they go after the monsters, and of course, who are the bait?
Oh, great. Like you want us to be virus bait?
Obviously. And I love the characters, I do. But they do too much for too little. They do not get enough credit in a way, okay? They are offered one Scooby snack each to be bait for this monster. One. Now, thankfully, they did not accept this. It was too little, obviously. It's one Scooby snack. It's like this big, if that. But when they're offered two each, they accept it. Now this is not a good enough prize. This, I set my leg flying with that one, is not worthy of their possible demise. Alas, they do it. Sorry. We soon find out that super magnets are this creature's demise. We found this out because apparently in a flashback scene, when the three people, the two science students, and this professor, I guess, are getting attacked by this monster. I don't remember how the magnet arrived, but they ended up with this magnet and it caused the thing to like glitch out. Okay, so they find out that they can use these super magnets to, I guess, destroy the monster. It is in this movie where they become, I don't know, self-aware is the thing.
I think we stand a better chance of finding it if we split up. Hey, you guys, I didn't say how we were gonna split up.
Like, do we ever do it any other way?
So we're going around this whole university, well, this one building, it seems. They're going around searching for this monster, obviously. And then Daphne, Fred, and Velma run into the monster. And then they got the magnets, and Daphne says something that I'm pretty sure I would say, because I would have not known what to say, essentially, which was,
"Get back, you creepy thingy."
I say thingy a lot, maybe less so than I used to, but definitely I would have called it a thingy. I'm surprised I haven't already, to be honest. I don't know how much money Scooby and Shaggy and all the mystery gang have, but they must have a lot because Scooby and Shaggy eat so much. Like, just, they went to this cafeteria. The others are running away from monsters. They're at a cafeteria, obviously. They have eaten everything at the cafeteria. And I don't know what cafeterias are like over there. Maybe it's just my uni that had a cafe, not a cafeteria as this was. It's not cheap. That food is not cheap. And I don't know why, because they're all broke students. But maybe they just know broke students are also lazy students. We can't be bothered cooking things, you know. We're living off 2-minute noodles. There's all that sort of thing. So maybe that's what they're living on. But how do they afford this stuff? And even if it wasn't a college cafeteria, that's so much food. What? That's hundreds upon hundreds of dollars each time they're eating. I don't know how they afford it. Unless they're stealing the food. Maybe they're stealing the food. Are they thieves? There have been multiple times where there definitely are thieves, but in this sense, I'm not sure. But in this cafeteria, in this particular scene, it disgusted me. Shaggy put whipped cream on a hot dog, and I cannot. I know I'm vegetarian, so there's that, but even previous to vegetarianism, even with a veggie hot dog. So in this scene also, this virus, I'll call it virus monster thing, as usual, Scooby and Shaggy are minding their own business, usually eating or something, and then this virus, or in other cases, usually it's a monster of some form, show up, and then they're like, ah, and they run. They end up tricking this monster by dressing up as nurses, or a nurse and a doctor, I think, and like giving it virtually electroshock therapy. Now, this monster is very confused by this. I'm not sure what exactly he's confused by. Whether it's like, oh, there's nurses and they're testing me for things and asking me questions, and if I get them wrong, shocking me. Which Scooby and Shaggy, now I think about it, are just kind of torturous. Or whether this monster is just so confused as to how Scooby and Shaggy could ever think that he would believe they are nurses and not Scooby and Shaggy, because they clearly look like the same people, just in a costume. So I'm not sure what he's confused by in this circumstance. I would understand him being confused by them dressing up as nurses, not who the people are in general and why they're doing this to him. So, you know, Scooby and Shaggy, they give the electric shock therapy stuff or just torture this monster. And then the monster's eventually like, oh no, and goes after them. They end up running into the other three, who by this point have been captured. I don't know, captured's a word, but brought in by the security guard who's like, you shouldn't be wandering down these areas. And they were concerned about Scooby and Shaggy. Scooby and Shaggy run past with the monster chasing them, and then they're like, oh, we better go after it. Long story short, they end up in front of this R2-D2 machine, I'll call it, and it beams them into the computer game. How? We shall find out. Once we are in this game, we find out the Phantom is also beamed into the game, which is both lucky and unlucky. So in this game, we start to go through all the levels. It's a game, there are levels, as most games have. So the first level is the moon. So they're on the moon, and we find out once they get the Scooby snacks, they go to the next level. So that's what they do. There's more events in it. We won't go into it. There's some chasing by the Phantom thing and some of its gangs and moon vehicles things. And we're into the next level. Second level is the Coliseum. There's like gladiators and stuff. So there's these things chasing them. They're skeletons, essentially. And there's also lions. So in this level, the lion has the Scooby snacks. The other one was just like near a flag on the moon, as it would be, I guess. So Fred uses Daphne's jacket, much to her disgust, to tempt the lion, get it running after him. So I don't remember, were they trying to get the snacks at this point? Anyway, that's what happened. So with all this happening, they're trying to run away from all these creatures. Scooby and Shaggy end up with these pole things that Fred gave them to like pole vault their way up, like onto a balcony or something. And then they dress up as, I don't know, Romans. They got the togas, okay, and Scooby is emperor. And Shaggy goes by saying,
Friends, Romans, and spooky gladiators, all hail Emperor Scooby!
Third level is the prehistoric jungle. Now, of course, in this level, there's dinosaurs. And there is also a volcano. Obviously. So originally when they arrive at this level, they're a bit like, oh, because they didn't see dinosaurs at first. They were just like, oh, this is a nice jungle. We like this level. But then there's dinosaurs and there's a volcano when things start turning. So they end up in a cave. Another thing, of course, that would happen in this level. And then Scooby and Shaggy are drawing, like, on the cave walls, just food, which I liked. It was a good add-on. And then they find out there's a volcano drawing as well. So they eventually find out that the volcano is erupting. So that's not good. And they're like, we better find these Scooby snacks and leave. So I don't know how they got up there, but they're riding a mammoth. I'm really not sure how they got there, where they found this mammoth. And I'm glad Velma addressed it because I was questioning it. The mammoths are not historically accurate for the time. Also, probably location. I don't think mammoths were in a jungle, but maybe I'm wrong. But maybe I'm just thinking of Ice Age, to be honest. But I imagine them in colder climates because they're woolly. They're woolly. I don't think they're walking around in this probably hot jungle. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know how hot this jungle was. I don't know. Well, the volcano is probably damn hot, but in general, before volcano erupting, I imagine it like a normal jungle as it is now, where it can kind of be sticky and hot. Hot and sticky. It's humid. There's flies. There's mosquitoes. There's all that sort of stuff. Maybe there's not mosquitoes in those days. Were there? I feel like they would. So they arrive to this volcano. They're like, oh shoot, it's erupting. We better try and climb the volcano. I guess, because at this point, I guess they think that the Scooby snacks are on the volcano somewhere, or right near the top of the volcano. Or else it would be very odd them deciding to climb up the volcano when the volcano is erupting. Sounds counterproductive. Sounds like maybe they just want to die. But they start climbing up this volcano. And also because there's this T-Rex that's coming after them, and they decide that, hey, they don't climb. T-Rex don't climb because they've only got little hands, or little arms. Anyway, there's this baby pterodactyl up there. They're feeling sorry for it. And then Scooby goes and rescues the pterodactyl because it had like this giant rock that must have fallen from the top, landed on part of it, and it was trapped, and its mother was like, oh, we need to save you. And then it turns out that's where the Scooby snacks were. So he grabs them. And then they go to the next level. So I will go through the list of levels now because it kind of just starts going faster, and we go into a bit of a montage. So we've got 4th level is underwater. 5th level is they are smaller than an ant. I don't know where they are. They're in the grass somewhere. 6th level, they are in Japan. If I remember correctly, not present day Japan. I don't believe it was, I don't know, ancient Japan. I don't remember. I just wrote they were in Japan. Something obviously told me they were. That's where they were. I just put Daphne had some impressive moves here. So they were fighting. 7th level is Ancient Egypt. And then there's Fantasy Night with Dragon, which must have been 8th. I didn't write that. And then the North Pole. Now, after all that, we go to the last level. According to Eric, the guy that created this game, no player has ever won it. Not even him. Now, I am curious because if this game is only just being created, how many people have played this game? I can't imagine many. So I don't even know if anyone but him has played it. So that's interesting. But then I also wondered, I don't know, do game creators not know how to beat their own games? I don't know how. I don't create games. I don't know the game development process. But is it possible for you not to be able to beat your own game? Like, when you're creating it, do you have to beat it? Like, I don't know. Please do comment on that down below, because I'm not sure how that works. Like, I feel like you have to know how to beat it. I guess you have to get the Scooby snacks, but I don't know personally how it all works and that aspect of things. Now, in this last level, they meet the game versions of themselves. They essentially look like them from previous Scooby Doos, if that makes sense. Except for maybe some of the colors, like Shaggy is wearing orange in the game version, and Scooby has also an orange collar, which I don't think was ever the case in previous things. But Daphne is wearing her previous outfit with the neck scarf thing. I think it was neck scarf, something like that. Fred's the same. Fred hasn't really changed, honestly. Scooby and Shaggy are pretty similar except for the colours. Daphne, maybe a little different. Their eyes are all different, which was interesting. I'd have to look back onto the previous Scooby-Doos to see if they have changed their eyes. I had to note down that Scooby meeting himself was really cute. I've got a soft spot for Scoobs. I did write down, game version of Fred is a rough driver. He's driving this car and he is just slamming his foot on the brakes to stop. Not smooth at all. He just doesn't care. I had to note it down.
Then let's go. Well, here we are.
Because they do meet and then they go driving and finding spots, because they're determined to help the other characters, the real life characters, to beat this level or beat the Phantom Menace. Is that the word? I don't know if it was a Phantom Menace, but the Phantom thing and the Phantom thingy, and get home to the real world. They end up at this, what do you want to say? It's near the dock. I'll say the dock. It's near the water of some form. I don't know what sort of water. Is it a sea? Maybe. I don't know. But there's, it's a bit like Coney Island. There's all these rides and stuff on the water. And there's this, they start hearing someone hitting a ball, essentially. And then they see this figure in a cage that's with a baseball bat and he's hitting balls. And turns out it's a phantom, obviously. Did they know? Nope. I don't know how they didn't, but they didn't. I don't know how many characters are in this world either, because the game characters are like, yeah, he's pretty good at hitting the ball. Nothing weird here. It's never happened before, but I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any other characters, so I'm not sure how this didn't alarm them in this moment. I just started to ignore changes in appearance from one shot to the next. There's nothing major, okay? There's nothing critically wrong, and I guess it's partly just an animated thing, especially in this time. But just things like Fred getting mud on him, and then when he runs off, it's gone. Just suddenly there's no mud. Or Scooby and Shaggy having the food bellies from earlier, and then they run. It seems to be after people run, that just everything disappears and they're back to the normal selves. And at this time, after this phantom comes along, or they discover it's there because they walk up to it, all the other monsters that Scooby, well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of monsters from previous episodes, I'll say, previous things that they have fought in the real life Scooby Doo, and I guess maybe the game Scooby Doo, come and start to attack them as well. So there begins to be another chasing, running sort of sequence, which happens in all the films and multiple times generally. They're trying to fight these monsters. The monsters are running after them. There's a whole back and forth. Daphne's times 2 end up in like this fun house, and Daphne, computer game Daphne, she is very obsessed with this. What do you call it? I wrote it. The funhouse mirrors. I just called them funhouse mirrors. She's obsessed with these funhouse mirrors.
Oh no! What's wrong? Oh, look how fat I am! Come on!
She's just, I guess, very look-oriented and a bit stupid, honestly. Now, I don't remember the alligator villain, but I did note, did they purely add an alligator villain? Maybe that's the reason why they chose one of the ones from the past, or that one in particular, just so Fred could say...
See you later, alligator.
It's just a very dad joke. And I feel like that's the main reason they added it in. I feel like they were just like, we got to say this line. And that's that. That's the only reason we're adding this one in. Now, Velma, in a typical fashion, or Velma times 2 in a typical fashion, sees a monster, runs into each other, and then they both lose their glasses. Always the case. Yet again, another Scooby Doo thing. Daphne always loses her glasses somewhere along the line. She just needs either to get surgery on her eyes or get bloody contacts. Because the amount of time she loses her glasses, girl needs contacts. So, another scene. I'm just going through all the little characters' moments in this spot. Is Scooby times 2, everything's times 2, on the carousel pretending to be one of the horses. I thought this was clever. I thought it was smart. He actually kind of blended in a little bit. I could see how you might miss him, at least at a glance. Another thing though, I know this is a cartoon, but I'm going to bring them up anyway. I was curious why there were 2 just empty poles on this carousel. Like there was nothing attached to them. They were just there. I don't know why. There's just this random pole. 2 random poles. Nothing there. Is it broken? It just seems awfully convenient to me. Scooby Doo. I also then put, apparently this ride can be sped up ridiculously fast. Now, I don't think that's a thing in rides. I feel like they just either don't go that fast, or there would be like an override system for that. But it was going faster than you could ever make a ride go. I don't know, especially merry-go-round. Crazy fast. Then I wrote some interesting music for the next montage scenes of the gang running and defeating monsters. So yeah, through this, I will try and attach the music. Hopefully I don't get taken down for it. We will see. There's some interesting music coming through this moment of them running away from monsters in this montage. Yeah, I will try and add it. Shaggy realizes after all of this that he actually had the magnet, that powerful magnet, in his pocket and just forgot somehow. Now, I know it's movie magic, but what am I doing here if I don't mention it, you know? I don't know how, he even had this magnet in his pocket. It's like this big. I don't know where it was fitting. B, how he would even forget it's in his pocket if it's that big. And C, I'm going to assume if it's anything like those powerful magnets you get now, that are like only this big or something, they are heavy. Like, they're not light at all. So you would not forget that's in your pocket, because that's probably weighing his pants down. And another thing, because when he found out he had this magnet in his pocket still, it caused the cyber Scooby gang to glitch. I'm curious how he's been hanging out with especially other Shaggy all this time, and this powerful, like this super magnet has not caused this glitch, when all it has was been maybe like his corduroy pants as the barrier between. I don't know how that works, but it does in this movie. So once they have this magnet, the Scooby gang, the real life one, go into this, I think, arcade where the Scooby snacks are, and where the villain characters, I've just gone blank, the thingy, is the Phantom. That's his name. The Phantom is, and he's guarding the Scooby snacks, of course. And they're, gonna try and fight their way to Scooby snacks, and Fred's decides to use the magnet on it, as you would. And in this case, he's up there standing with the magnet facing him and the thing's glitching out. And he's like, Scooby, get the Scooby snacks. And he's like, yeah. And then I don't know why, because this thing's glitching out. There's no need for him to like sneak around. Scooby's like sneaking his way to the Scooby snacks as if this thing is just glitching because it can. I don't know. But he's sneaking to the Scooby snacks. And of course, because he's sneaking all the way around and trying to find like this inconspicuous path to them, it stops working. The thing starts to get back to normal, and he's fine. So Scooby doesn't get the snacks. With this happening, they're like, oh shoot, what are we gonna do? And then the other Scooby gang are outside, and they're like, oh shit, because there's like things flashing and things going everywhere. And they're like, oh, obviously this doesn't look so good. Maybe we should help them. And then they go in, and then these monsters start coming back. And anyway, other Scooby ends up inside. Cyber Scooby ends up inside. And apparently, I'm not sure why, this Cyber Scooby is a lot braver. And the characters take note of that, because this Scooby's like, I'm going to go and solve the issue myself. So he was essentially the bait, and he was like jumping in and out and like taunting this Phantom, so it was going after him, and other Scooby was like sneaking around trying to get the snacks, as he does. So with this happening, they get the Scooby snacks, and the Phantom has been beaten, and he essentially dies, and all is well, and then they get to go back to the real world, but the cyber one stays there, obviously. So when we get the Scooby gang get back, they realize that Bill is in fact the culprit, essentially, because of the baseball references within the game. They're like, oh, I think it's Bill, and it was, because he was like, once they find out, he was like trying to sneak out the room and get out the door. I don't know if the door was locked, but he couldn't seem to open it, so he was making a run for it. Then I have one quote.
The prize would have been all mine if it wasn't for
Us meddling kids.
The old scientist oddly continues chuckling when everyone stopped, which made me laugh. It was just so random, but good. I will add it in because it's just, I don't know what to say about it. Honestly, you gotta hear it. And then they decide to edit something to do with the game, and apparently Scooby knows coding. I'm not sure where he learned this. Maybe there's references to it in other movies of Scooby, shush phone. But he knows coding. I guess, I don't know. He talks, he does things. I guess maybe he knows coding. Just seems out of the ordinary for Scooby. But somehow he does. The end. That's the end. I have nothing else to say about it. It was it's a short movie. So you gotta like a short movie, especially a kid's movie sometimes. I mean, most of them are short, but I wouldn't want it to go longer. Not to say it would be bad. It's just they're good when they're short, you know. You just cut to the chase. You got quick sequences. They all follow a very similar storyline. They show up to a friend's or someone's place. Turns out there's a monster. We got to get the monster. Let's go into some sequences of running, chasing the monster, and the monster chasing us. Let's trick the monster. Let's dress up as something. There's always a dress up scene. Let's Scooby snacks. We'll do things for Scooby snacks. Who could the monster be? The monster is actually this person. Now, in this case, the monster wasn't the person, but they were the ones that created the monster, you know. So, same thing. This person did it. You meddling kids. Ha ha ha. And they're off. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.